Look at this! Look at how good this is! Just look! Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. Hope you guys are having a great day and welcome to another incredible test realm video. I think today's a double upload day. That's why I didn't stream on Twitch. But I will be streaming some test realm content tomorrow on Twitch, so make sure to follow in the description. But anyways, let's get right into this video. This video is going to be about, I feel like, what everyone's been excited about, what everyone's probably wondering about, what's everyone talking about. It is the level 130 gear, and this video, I don't know how long it's going to be, but it's going to be a complete Wizard101 test realm gear guide for all the level 130 gear. I'm going to try to explain to you guys, to the best of my knowledge, how I think it works based on having played in the test realm for quite a few hours now, and also what I think about it. I'm probably just going to go all the way from hats all the way to rings, cause why not? You know what I'm saying? So first, I want to focus on how all of these recipes seem to work, and this is already a huge plus in my opinion, because it basically makes farming not as much of a grind. Just to put this into perspective, right? When it comes to like dungeons like Darkmoor, if you spend, I don't know, 2-3 hours, depending on the type of team you have, it could take a while, right? Even if you spend like a 45-minute kind of thing doing the run, it's still random at the end of the day. If you don't get the drop, you just don't get the drop, and then you're done. That's wasted time, right? I mean, it's very frustrating in my opinion for dungeons to work like that. But this dungeon, much like how Imperial worked, has reformed that. The way it works is basically there are 3 different sets from what I can see. So far, there seems to be a soldier's set. So that's like, you know, it's the OG Darkmoor stage, which I love. There also seems to be a vanguard's set. And then finally, there seems to be a dragoon's set. Now, the thing that I've noticed so far is the soldiers and vanguard stuff seems to drop from mobs and bosses, but the dragoon set, from my knowledge, from my experience, I haven't gotten it as a drop, so either it's very rare as a drop, or it's only craftable. The way it works, you get basically, I guess, the lower tier of a set, and then you can get all these reagents. They drop very readily from all the bosses, and eventually you'll have enough to craft it. So the more you grind, the more reagents you get, and the easier it is to craft everything that you want. So if I'm gonna give an honest review of all of this, I already just simply love how you can get these things. Now let's get into the juice, bro. Let's get into the juice. I know that's what y'all want. Every, you know, set of recipes for hats, robes, whatnot, they have one universal set, and then they have a bunch of school sets. So let's look at the Storm one. Already, I can tell you, right? There's a couple of things that really stands out to me about the crafted hats. One, the hats give accuracy and pierce, so we very rarely have those two combined in any of the gear sets we've ever had, and it seems to give a good amount of crit. It's definitively giving a ton more health, and definitively giving a ton more damage. Now, also, it comes with this really cool little mass storm trap card, which, you know, I like. Now, so far, when I'm looking at this, the only thing holding me back from, like, completely, you know, just hopping on board with this Dragoon's hat is that they just don't have universal resist. Now, here's the thing. I do think that the whole point of resist is to be able to tank, right? So I actually really like that they have more health. You know, that health, you can probably say that, you know, it's probably worth a couple of resist here and there. So it would make sense if the Dragoon set had less resist, right, than the Mouster set. I think we can all agree. But I just think that, you know, having no universal resist is a very strange move. I'm not saying that we need 10 universal resist on these, but I definitely think a very quick fix that they should really look into is having just a little bit of resist. This could change the meta completely, and in a good direction, in my opinion, if it had something like 5 resist. 6 resist maybe for ice and life, or maybe, you know, something like, or maybe like 4 resist for fire. I know that doesn't seem like an absolute ton, but I can guarantee to you that, you know, just a small thing like 5 to 6 resist added onto these would make them a lot more usable than how they are right now. I love where they're going with the adding the accuracy. I love where they're going with adding the health, and I love where they're going with the pip chance and the cards. Everything looks very good. It's just a minor tweak that I really think they should add is literally take all the resist on each Darkmoor set and maybe add maybe 60% of that. Now, the robes are very interesting, and I'll tell you something I really like, and I'll tell you something that I really don't like. The health is a huge increase from Darkmoor, and not to mention, you also seem to be keeping your universal resist quite a bit. So that much health and that much resist is actually a really, really good change, in my opinion, compared to Darkmoor. Another thing that I have to say, and you'll notice this about every gear set, what I like is that the difference between the health for all the schools are not as pronounced as Darkmoor was. When it came to Darkmoor, right? Storm got around 500 health in their Darkmoor robe, as you can see, and Ice got close to 1,000, if not more. I don't want to mix the numbers. That's a 500 health difference, give or take. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you look at this, let's say this is about 1,800, and the Storm one is about, 1,523. That's already bridging the gap a little bit, so that it's not absolutely ridiculous, the difference between the two schools. I think this is going to make a lot of the problems for lower health schools disappear if this became part of the meta. I also like that they added Pierce. I love that they added Incoming, and I like that they increased Pip Chance compared to traditional Darkmoor gear. The obvious problem, I think everybody knows that what the obvious problem here is that it just is not offensive enough. And the reason I'm on my Storm especially is because Storm desperately needs an upgrade from Darkmoor. And the problem is that, not that this is not good, I think the problem is that the Darkmoor gear is really good. Look at how much damage and accuracy it has, right? That's absolutely crazy. But I don't think the response to making really OP gear in the past is to make gear that, isn't as OP, like, I understand why they decided to go in this direction when it came to the gear that they made for the robes, but I do think that, like, if you decrease the pip chance a little bit, you can even literally remove the incoming a little bit, lower the resist maybe a little bit, lower the shadow pip chance, you can nerf the other aspects of this robe if you could add a good bit of accuracy, because I feel like Storm and Fire will just be fizzling if they ever try to use this set. And also add some damage. Not as much damage as Darkmoor has, because obviously this robe has a lot of other things that Darkmoor doesn't, including Pierce. Maybe add like 15 to 16 damage, depending on the school, obviously, so Storm would get a little bit more, Ice would get a little bit less. Keep the health, keep the resist, keep the Pierce. Now, these are just my numbers. I don't really know what the best numbers would be, but feel free to let me know what you think the numbers should be in the comments. I think that this isn't a bad idea whatsoever. It's actually, in my opinion, a very good direction for PvP, especially the block. Let's talk about the block. We are in desperate need of block in PvP and in this meta. Like 100%. I don't think anyone is saying anything against it. I feel like if these robes actually added a little bit of damage and had some way of adding some accuracy, or maybe something else adds the accuracy for schools like Storm and Fire, because they don't fizzle as much. If you were to, actually go in that direction, PvP would actually be helped a lot with that. Damage is so high right now that an extra 33% added on when you crit is a huge deal. So the fact that block is still really just not a thing that a lot of people can do without sacrificing all the other stats, that concerns me, especially because we're at a point where I feel like this could be a great opportunity to do that. I just think when you're making an upgrade 5 years after, I still think that this is just a little bit underwhelming. Let's get to the best part of this entire gear upgrade. This is definitely something that I'm going to be grinding 10 hours a day for. Definitely. These boots are probably some of the great. This is great. This is just wonderful. It's amazing. Look at this. Look at how good this is. Just look. Let's compare these Dragoon's Shocking boots to the Nimbari boots. Let's not forget, the Nimbari boots are Crown's gear. You get more health, you get more crit, you get outgoing, you get pip chance, you get a whole other stat added onto it. This is just amazing. This is by far the most direct upgrade that you will see in this test realm so far. Like, by far. I love the Sharpened Blade and the Potent Trap. Those are great. But the fact that Ice only has, it's at almost at 1200. It has less than 200 extra health compared to the boots. That's a huge, huge deal. I just think adding this much health to the schools is a really good direction, and it's a trend that you see throughout. It's a big deal. This is a big, big upgrade. If you're level 130, you're happy about these boots. Incredible, incredible update in terms of boots. That's all I'm going to say on that. Let's keep moving. I don't have any complaints. Don't change these, please. Keep them the way they are. The wands are really, really underwhelming, in my opinion. I mean, let's just look at the Ione's crafted wand. That's level 125, and then compared to the Dragoons, you have less square slots, which is already a problem. You don't have Pierce. You have barely more pip convert and barely more crit, and you're giving up a square slot and 6 Pierce for that. I don't really think so. These really need an upgrade. I definitely, they should add a square slot. There's no reason not to. But beyond that, maybe a third square slot even. I don't know, just to differentiate it. Maybe a third square slot and I would actually, I might use it. It's just, this isn't doing it for me at all. The wands, I'm a little disappointed in the wands, I'll be honest. There's, why are they worse than the crafted wands from before? Well, Nani Porqué, why? Let's get into something very, very interesting here, and these are the Athames. Now, I actually don't have that negative of an opinion of the Athames, because they do something that I've been wanting. Again, I've been saying this. They give more block. I saw this on Twitter. The lack of triangle jewels is just a glitch. Like, they're gonna add triangle slots to all of these. So essentially, I mean, since they don't give pip chance, just imagine just adding 10% pip chance to these, right? Again, I love the health increase. I love the damage increase, and compared to other block Athames, they're clearly better. Let's compare them to what people normally use, though. I'm just gonna use the Chrysalis Crafted, the Dark War Athame. When you're comparing these, I think it's fairly obvious that if it did come with a triangle slot, this is a direct upgrade, except for the fact that there's just no pip chance. I think this Athame is missing a stat. Again, I'm not asking for 16% pip chance, because I do think that's a little excessive. Something like 9, something like, you know, 8 to 9, I feel like that would be a really good idea, because otherwise people, again, they're not going to craft this. It's not worth it. I think block and health are really needed in PvP right now, and things like Athames that do this could really shift the meta, but we have to make sure that we don't just fail pip and fizzle everything, just like in the other cases that I talked about. This is another part of the update that I really, really like, and these are the Amulets. Now, the Amulets are very interesting. Now, the reason why I have the Rat Amulet for comparison is obviously just to, you know, give you guys, you know, a valid comparison. Now, if you run a strategy that doesn't revolve around Pierce, see, a lot of people, the meta right now is to use something like the Fly Gobs Medallion. Let's say you don't use that and you're more of a tanky kind of person, right? This is actually a really good upgrade. It's really, really good. Not only does the 4-pip spells, they actually do quite a bit. Let's take Storm, for example, right? It does 750 damage almost. And for other schools like Ice, I could see Ice using that 4-pip Ice Wyvern a lot. They actually don't have spells that do this much damage. It's actually like a situationally good card. Set resist is a little high in my opinion for some schools. I can see Ice Wizards definitely using this. I'm definitely going to get this. But if you use the Professor's Boots and you use the Dragoon's Icy Charm, I can see people with their normal stats and they're gonna be bordering on immunity to ice. So I'd be a little careful with the set resist. If I were to add something, I'd definitely add block. I think the reason why I don't like them compared to the Rat Amulet is the lack of block. I don't know why they don't have any like crit or block like every other amulet we've ever seen. So I don't know, maybe looking into that would be a cool change. But again, I don't think these are unbalanced, that's for sure. And finally, the rings. I think the rings are by far, in my opinion, the most underwhelming. They just don't come with enough jewel slots even for this to be worth it. You know, they don't come with a tier slot, which I think is a huge, like, why? Because it literally, they already clearly don't give a lot of health, which I don't see why the rings are they buck that trend. Everything else gives a ton of health in this. Like, look at this. Everything gives a ton of health. The things give a ton of health. The hats, the robes, obviously. I don't know why these just don't give any health. Like, you know, I mean, they're obviously Crypt Rings. I can show you guys the comparison to the level 120 that I have. I think there's a slightly better ring, obviously, that I could get. But if you compare them, sure, they're an upgrade. Are they honestly worth the farming? Well, with the tier jewel, they're not worth the extra health. So I guess if you really want to grind for, you know, 1 more damage, 1 more incoming, and 20 more crit, when honestly you could get 100% crit anyways, it doesn't really make sense as a Storm Wizard, but you know, I don't know. Again, they're not game-breaking. They don't really change anything for me. They don't really do it for me, I'll be really honest. How would I fix this? I would most probably add some health to it, maybe. I don't know. They're just not an upgrade. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, that's the ring. There's obviously some pros and there's some cons. Let's focus on the pros. If I can list them out right now, the pros are, 1, the craftable version of everything that you can get dropped is really great. The fact that you don't just have to grind for drops that you just might never get. So really, this is a really good change. The other pros, I feel like the amulets are great, in my opinion. The boots are really, really great. And honestly, even the Athame, the hat, and the robe, even though they're all missing stats, in my opinion, there is an obvious direction in the meta that they're trying to go that is more balanced. Let's say Darkmoor gear was completely erased and everyone switched these, I think PvP would be more balanced. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but just the extra health in the block, the way they would work, I actually think they would be more balanced. So I think you should encourage people to switch from Darkmoor to these by not completely upgrading it entirely from Darkmoor, but by adding things that are similar. So on the robes, I would add accuracy and damage. On the hat, I would add resist. And on the Athames, I would 100% add pip chance. Let me know what you guys think as well. Do you guys like these things? I mean, I'm sure everyone's going to try to go for the boots. As always, there's tons of links in the description, including my Twitch, my Twitter, my Discord, my Instagram, and my Patreon if you want to support all the videos. Thank you guys for all the love. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Leave a sub if you're new. And if somebody has not told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. So stay awesome, brother. And yeah.